Good evening. It's June 17th, 2024, and we have a quandary. And we need to turn to our fearless uh, leader here. You know what we have a quandary about? Welcome to the Alan Osborne Show. In the back is the chief law enforcement officer of the county. And according to people, I have altered the text that I have posted on other websites and sent to people. And people are writing me saying that this is against the law and this isn't true. Now, look, if you're just catching up on the Alan Osborne Show, through a court case, we've attained the records of racist text between two commissioners. Now, some people are saying it's not between two commissioners, that it's not between Trey Nick and Tony Anderson and his aides. Some people are saying that it's not. And so I don't know what to tell you people except that, if they are, we need to know if those are true. And if I'm spreading bad information or I'm doing something that's against the law, this guy right behind you can help you. Now, supposedly there's investigations going on Chaz and people like that, but I've not been called. Suzanne's not been called, and we know the county completed an investigation before Quinn Robertson and Joe were ever hired. And then they said they were being investigated. Well, why was that? The actions that was being investigated occurred before they got hired. This is all just BS. And everybody says that these texts are BS, but are they? I don't know. But here's what you can do. If you think that Alan Osborne has done something wrong by posting these so-called altered texts, you should contact, the sheriff's always said, contact him about everything. So here's the deal. I'm not the sheriff yet, but this guy is. And here we're going into election. And if there's racist texts out there from candidates and sitting commissioners, or if there's not and they've been altered, is this some kind of crime that Mike needs to investigate about these texts? So here's what you do. Call this hotline, because Mike gave this to us one time, right there, 850-305-6007, and see if you can get hold of Mike and ask him, hey, Mike, are these texts real? Is all this about carrying the naked woman, this information being disseminated from the county records? Is it real? Please, Mike, tell us. Tell us if it's not real. We need to know, because I hear Trey saying that it's not real. It's been altered, and that didn't happen. He didn't post it. And Tony says he didn't get it, I guess. I don't know. We just know what the texts say, Mike, and you need to come tell us. And then voters, don't you think that Mike and myself, well, I've already said what I think of it. I think Nick should pull out of the race and Tony should resign over this. It's really inexcusable. And so for you voters out there, if the texts are real, Mike, what's your opinion of the texts, and what would you do? And what do you think they should do if they wrote those texts, Mike? Please, as the chief of law enforcement and the guy who's supposed to make sure that everything's fair, can you tell us what to do? And now, voters, not only do we need Mike's opinion, but Mike's little guy he's sponsoring in the commission, Chuck Wilder. What does Chuck think about these texts? I bet Boots has a lot to say about them now that he knows the real deal. But I think it's important that all the candidates comment on what they think of these texts, if they are real, and only Mike can tell us. So we need Mike or Clay Atkinson. Imagine that. One of the two Atkinsons is going to have to come out and tell us, either the county attorney or the sheriff, are these texts real? Have they been altered? Were they received in their same format from the court? We need an investigation on it, because these questions must be answered prior to the election. And did Tony Anderson, if he did receive these texts or send those answers, did he report it? Are they required to report it? Do these texts violate policy or state laws? I mean, this thing is out of hand. I mean, this is serious stuff. And Mike, Do you think you need to investigate whether insurance fraud occurred over the Maxwell settlement? There sure is an awful lot of evidence, but you know, Mike, I'm not the sheriff yet. If I was the sheriff, I'd be asking Tony and Nick, are these your texts? And then I'd be publicly saying what I thought of them. But I'm not in that public position, Mike, you are. And so's Chuck and Boots and Brad. I'm sure they all, every single candidate out here, we all need to say what we think, if the texts are real, that Trey Nick and Tony Anderson need to do over this, and what should Mike investigate. There's just a lot of unanswered questions. Other questions, we have, and hold on just a second. Speaking of asking Chuck, you weren't at the debate the other day. Why not? Or the introduction. You even had a seat with your name tag. I bet you felt special. I only got 30 seconds. You got 4 minutes and you said nothing because you weren't there. Hold on. Newsflash update. So don't forget, we need the sheriff to answer these questions, and we need Chuck's opinion too. Hey, Lucky Chucky, how you doing? Look at Chuck's old job title, General Manager, Disposal Services. Excuse me. Whoop, whoop. It says Panama City. Huh, that's strange. But Chuck, I got some questions for you. A, what do you think of the racist text between Nick and Tony Anderson? What do you think about that, Chuck? And some other questions I need to know is, Chuck, because I just don't have the answer, is this. Chuck, what happened with SCT, Internet Superior Computer Technology? Now, the way I understand it, Chuck offered an internet business, because this gets down to, are we going to trust this guy with our tax money? Well, we already know, if you've seen the Lucky Chucky episode, we already know that Chuck has little regard for the law, because he knew Boots couldn't put him on the planning commission, and he tried it anyway. The lawyer stopped him. He's admitted he's got tax liens, and he's admitted that Chaz Galloway, he hired him as his campaign manager. And now we find out that when Chuck had a business, in the internet business, imagine this. He pre-sold internet around Freeport. This is what people are testifying, Chuck. You can tell us whether it's true. It's a good debate question. And even ran a teacher's discount. And he took these advance payments, and then he closed down overnight. Now, it's no crime to fail, but Chuck told people that they would get their money back in payments, and my understanding is those payments never came. So, Chuck, we got lots of explaining to do there, Lucky Chucky. What's your position on the Nick text? What should Nick and Tony have to do if those texts are true? Should there be an investigation of this settlement, and why these answers? How about when Danny's fake depositions? Hey, Chuck, since you and Mikey are buds and you worked for the sheriff's department, right? And he's all about you running, maybe you and Mike could get together and decide, how that's going to work out. What are we going to do about it, Lucky Chucky? What should Trey and them do? And I saw that Chaz is now putting out, your campaign manager is now sending people texts that say me and Suzanne are going to operate just like the Nazis. Well, I can tell you that those texts are fake. Me and Suzanne Harris and Chaz Galloway have never had a three-way text conversation. Man, Chaz is desperate, and I'm glad his cart's hitched to you and Mikey and Trey Nick. Y'all all deserve each other, don't they, folks? Like I said, if you've got questions, if any of this stuff's real, you're just going to have to turn to the chief of law enforcement. Here's his number that he gave us a long time ago. It might still be good. I don't call Mikey because unlike Oscar Mayer, I don't care if Mikey likes the baloney that I'm putting out that the county's acting up in. Have y'all had enough of this? I mean, come on. How hard's the sheriff going to look away? As hard as he looked away from that house party down 30A, folks? Yep. But I don't know. These are questions, Lucky Chucky. Did you ever pay them people back? How come you tried to get up there? Why didn't you pay your tax liens? And do you think Charles Galloway is a good choice? And once again, what would you do if you were king of punishment? And Trey and Tony actually had these conversations, and Tony didn't report these violations, and so on and so forth. Anyway, you just can't make this stuff up on June 17th of 2024. And that's the Walton County election cycle. I'll see you out there. If you don't like Mike, there's Alan Osborne for sheriff. There's other choices out there. But let's choose for a change. How about a change in fairness? How about a change in government? Do you like what you're seeing in America? If you don't right now, just like you probably don't like what you're seeing now, then make a change here locally too. It'll be Trump 2024 and clear the board in Walton County, and let's start anew. Maybe we can fix this mess. Maybe we don't need a director of planning who lost his license for fraud. Maybe we don't need things like that. Anyway, you can't make this shit up, but you can unelect it. And that's how it is on the Alan Osborne Show. Osborne for sheriff. Hell, anybody for sheriff but Mikey. And send Chucky to the showers with him. I'll see you next time, and we'll see you on the Alan Osborne. Y'all keep them straight out there. They can't keep themselves straight.